What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another very important AMC update to bring to all of you this evening. So what we're going to be covering in this update, a little bit of the technicals that we saw today. There is something starting to happen on some of the longer time frames that I think a lot of you guys are really going to like. It's showing signs of a potential trend reversal. Now, we also have some crazy data points coming out with the cost of borrows for both AMC and GME. Things are happening exactly like we expected they would. Now, it's also a monthly options expiration week this week, so we're going to be talking about the options as well. In some crazy 11,000% increases, we have some really big institutional ownership percentage changes. Now, I know that's a little bit of a hot topic for some people, so we're going to break it down on both sides and really explain what this means for us going forward. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And a little special announcement for you guys, we are going to be unveiling a brand new trading algorithm in the Discord for you guys coming out later this week. We also are going to keep those 850 alerts, those 40 private live streams every single month. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you check out that link down below. So AMC closed the day today at $11.71, down 10 cents, 0.85%. We started off the day pretty hot, then ended up kind of coming down with the market. The market was very choppy today, but when we're taking a look at the longer time frames here, we're seeing something pretty interesting start to happen. Now, we really like to look at these 4-hour crosses with 1348 to really kind of give us an understanding of when AMC could potentially go on a massive run. Is that happening right now? No, but we're showing the signs of starting to get to that point. We are seeing this inflection point of the 13 EMA here. We've been kind of hovering above it once we start to see that crossover here, these closing candles above the 200 EMA at $16.14, just like we were talking about last time before the really big run, all the way from about $12.90 all the way to about $34 a share. We're expecting something similar to that to happen. Now, do we know when this is going to happen? No, but those are the key things that I want you guys to look for, and they are starting to show up. Now, when we come over to the Ortex data over here, specifically for AMC, we're seeing some very interesting things. There's a net borrow today of about 1.56 million shares. We are up to 153.92 million shares on loan. Now, there's a really key point about this that I want you guys to understand. With the max cost of borrow being at 4.33% and climbing, we're going to take a look at what happened with GME today too, because those numbers are absolutely insane. But when we see these numbers start to go up on the cost of borrow and the short interest, 21.68%, it doesn't necessarily deter these existing shorts from keeping their position, because most likely a lot of them are significantly in the green if they have entered their short position over the last 6 to 8 months. But here's what this does do. Any new short that is looking to get into AMC or GME right now may not want to get in, because when you think about the potential for these stocks going lower, well, they've already made 2 moves from in the 40s all the way down to that $10, $11, $12 range, and then ran right back up to the 30s. So there is a very significant danger that these shorts are facing trying to short these stocks down here. Combining that with the higher cost of borrows that we are seeing, it's possible that we're going to see less new shorts coming in after we see the shares on loan peak at whatever number that's going to be. This is really close to the all-time high shares on loan right now. We've seen in the past either 155 or 158 million shares on loan. And with the continued amount of shares going out on loan right now, we could be at 158, 160 million by the end of this week. And when we take a look at GameStop over here, we've got 22.65% estimated short interest, 19.83% max cost to borrow with an average of 9.83%. Who in their right mind wants to pay a cost to borrow on GME right now with the potential for it to just run up on you? You get margin called, liquidated out of your position, and oops, now you've lost a bunch of money. I don't think a lot of people really want to do that in this marketplace. So those are some key points about the data that we are seeing here. If you guys do have any more questions about this, make sure you leave your thoughts down below in a comment about some of the things that we just covered. But we still have a lot left to really cover in the rest of this update. So we haven't really taken a look at the option chain all that in depth over the past couple of weeks, because it hasn't really made all that much of a difference in what we are seeing in the day-to-day price action, or nothing's really shown up that could signify a potential gamma squeeze to the upside. Are we seeing that that right now? Not necessarily, but we do have a little bit of potential here. So we only have about 11,000 call contracts in the money right now with 99,000 puts. With Max Pain being at about $15 a share, there's going to be a lot of shorting coming from the market makers in order to hedge these put contracts that they've sold. But a little bit of a bounce in the share price, more calls in the money, more puts out of the money, triggers those market makers to switch to buying, which could cause us to go up even more. Now, I want to talk about a little bit about these institutional purchases for AMC and GME, because there is some really interesting things happening over there as well. But there are two sides of this story. The one side is the more optimistic side, where a lot of people think, well, these big institutions with a lot of money and a lot of analytical capability are coming in and buying shares of a stock that we like. If they have this much money that they're willing to risk and they have more research power potentially than we do, well, they obviously think the stock is going to go up, so we should probably make money as well. But specifically to the AMC and GME situation, where these cost of borrows get a little bit nutty when they start to go up, it's also possible that a lot of these shares that these institutions are buying are going out on loan. So with those cost of borrows at 4.33% that we were seeing on AMC and 19.83% that we're seeing on GME, it's very possible that both of these things are occurring at the same time at a lot of these institutions. But for AMC specifically right here, we didn't necessarily see anything crazy change except for Bridgewater coming in and initiating a position, which that is Ray Dalio, very big fund, very famous for generating very, very successful returns for his investors. But this is kind of the one thing that I want to kind of focus in on here. GME, when you pull up GME and you take a look at Renaissance Technologies, if you guys don't know who Renaissance Technologies is, they are the most successful hedge fund of all time. They were generating, I believe, we can pull up the Wikipedia page, but they were generating around 40% yearly returns for 30 years. That's absolutely insane. They have increased their position in GME in the first quarter of 2022 by 11,704%. That is the craziest increase that I think that we have seen out of one of these big institutions that we have talked about in relation to a lot of these squeeze plays. They have 306,000 shares right now of GameStop, a pretty sizable position. Now, the other thing that I kind of want to get into here is what was the actual net inflow and net outflow of what we were looking at on AMC and GME in terms of what was coming in with the institutions. And then we're going to wrap it up by covering how many shares these shorts have to use against us at the current time. So make sure you guys stick around for that. When we take a look at this page right here on MarketBeat, in Q1 of 2022, there was $121 million worth of shares bought and 94 million sold. So still a net inflow of shares. Now, there's been a couple of theories floating around on whether or not people want to see these institutions continuing to buy or sell off their shares, because if the institutions sell off their shares, it's possible that they have to perform a lot of these forced share recalls, which they can do at any time in order to get those shares back in order to sell them in the open market. Now, if you're BlackRock with a boatload of shares and you want to perform a forced share recall, well, that's a lot of buying pressure that could potentially come back into the stock. But at the current time, how many shares do these shorts have in order to use against us if they were to essentially want to dump them all at once? So we have 153.92 million shares on loan and about 111.76 million shares estimated to be sold short at the current time. That's about a 42 million share block that is sitting out there on loan at the current time. Now, is it worth it for them to short it right now at these levels? In my opinion, not necessarily. I think the downside on this stock is relatively limited unless something crazy starts happening in the overall market. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. If you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So I hope you guys are having a great evening, and I'll see you guys on the live stream tomorrow bright and early at 8:15 a.m. Eastern.